most famous and enduring love affairs in European history took place during the late 18th and early 19th centuries between Lord Horatio Nelson, one of Britain's greatest naval heroes, and Emma, Lady Hamilton, a woman of extraordinary beauty, charm, and wit. Their relationship scandalized society, became the subject of intense public scrutiny, and is remembered today as one of the most passionate and controversial romances of the era. Emma Hamilton, from modest beginnings to the heights of society. Emma Hamilton, born Amy Lyon in 1765, came from humble beginnings in the village of Neston, England. Her early life was marked by poverty, and she started working as a maid at a young age. However, Emma's natural beauty and vivacious personality soon caught the attention of several wealthy and influential men. She moved to London and eventually became the mistress of Sir Harry Featherstone, a wealthy landowner. After their relationship ended, Emma found herself under the protection of Charles Greville, a member of the British Parliament. Greville, recognizing Emma's potential, educated her in the arts, music, and languages, transforming her into a refined and cultured woman. During this time, she became famous for her attitudes, a form of performance art where she posed in classical and mythological scenes. These performances captivated many, including artists like George Romney, who immortalized her beauty in numerous paintings. In 1786, Greville sent Emma to Naples, ostensibly to be a companion to his uncle, Sir William Hamilton, who was the British ambassador to the Kingdom of Naples. However, the arrangement was more complex. Greville intended for Sir William to become Emma's protector, freeing Greville to marry a wealthy heiress. Sir William, much older than Emma, fell deeply in love with her, and they were married in 1791. As Lady Hamilton, Emma became a prominent figure in Neapolitan society and developed close ties with the royal family, particularly Queen Maria Carolina, the sister of Marie Antoinette. Lord Nelson, the hero of the seas. Horatio Nelson was born in 1758 into a moderately prosperous family in Norfolk, England. He joined the Royal Navy at the age of 12 and quickly rose through the ranks due to his exceptional leadership, bravery, and strategic acumen. Nelson gained fame for his role in numerous naval battles during the French Revolutionary Wars, particularly for his daring tactics and his ability to inspire loyalty and courage in his men. By the late 1790s, Nelson had become one of Britain's most celebrated naval heroes, having lost an arm and an eye in battle. His fame reached its peak after the Battle of the Nile in 1798, where he led a decisive victory against the French fleet. It was after this victory that Nelson returned to Naples, where his life would be forever changed by his meeting with Emma Hamilton. The meeting of Nelson and Emma. Nelson first met Emma Hamilton in 1793 when he visited Naples, but their relationship truly began in 1798 after his victory at the Battle of the Nile. When Nelson returned to Naples, he was greeted as a hero, and Emma, who had followed his career closely, was among those who welcomed him. The two were immediately drawn to each other, and their mutual admiration soon blossomed into a deep and passionate love. At the time, both Nelson and Emma were married. Nelson to Frances, Fanny, Nisbet, and Emma to Sir William Hamilton. However, the attraction between them was undeniable, and they began a public and scandalous affair that shocked society. The trio, Nelson, Emma, and Sir William, formed an unusual ménage à trois, living together openly in London after Sir William's retirement in 1800. The scandal and public outcry. The affair between Nelson and Emma Hamilton was not just a private matter but a public spectacle. The British press and society at large were fascinated and outraged by their relationship. Nelson's wife, Fanny, was humiliated and deeply hurt by her husband's infidelity, and their marriage eventually broke down completely. Meanwhile, Emma's behavior, living openly with both her husband and her lover, was considered scandalous even by the more relaxed standards of the time. Despite the public outcry, Nelson and Emma's love for each other remained steadfast. They corresponded frequently when Nelson was at sea, and their letters, filled with expressions of deep affection and longing, reveal the intensity of their relationship. Emma became Nelson's confidant, his emotional anchor, and the inspiration for much of his later successes. The birth of Horatio and the final years. In 1801, Emma gave birth to a daughter, Horatio, whom Nelson acknowledged as his own. The birth of Horatio further complicated their already scandalous relationship, as it was clear to everyone that Nelson was her father. Despite the controversy, Nelson was deeply devoted to his daughter and took great pride in her. The years leading up to Nelson's final battle were marked by increasing tension and turmoil in Europe, with Britain and France locked in a bitter struggle for dominance. Nelson's relationship with Emma continued to flourish, even as he prepared for what would become his most famous and final engagement, the Battle of Trafalgar. The Battle of Trafalgar and Nelson's death. On October 21, 1805, Nelson led the British fleet into battle against the combined forces of France and Spain at Trafalgar, off the coast of Spain. It was a decisive victory for Britain, but it came at a great cost. Nelson was fatally wounded by a French sniper during the battle and died aboard his flagship, HMS Victory. Nelson's death was a devastating blow to Emma Hamilton. She had lost the man she loved and the father of her child. Nelson's last words, "Kiss me, Hardy," spoken to his friend and fellow officer, Captain Thomas Hardy, and "Thank God, I have done my duty," became legendary, encapsulating the sense of duty and sacrifice that defined his life. The aftermath and Emma's tragic end. After Nelson's death, Emma's life took a tragic turn. Despite Nelson's wishes that she be cared for, she received little support from the British government or Nelson's family. She fell into financial ruin, and her once glamorous life was reduced to a struggle for survival. In 1814, Emma was imprisoned for debt and later moved to France, where she lived in poverty until her death in 1815. Horatio, Nelson and Emma's daughter, was cared for by relatives and went on to lead a respectable life, but she was never fully accepted by Nelson's family. Emma's tragic end contrasted sharply with the heights she had once reached as the beloved of one of Britain's greatest heroes. The legacy of Nelson and Emma's love. The love affair between Lord Nelson and Emma Hamilton has captivated historians, writers, and the public for over 2 centuries. Their story is one of passion, scandal, and tragedy, set against the backdrop of some of the most significant events in European history. It is a tale of a love that defied social conventions, endured public scrutiny, and ultimately ended in heartbreak. Despite the controversy that surrounded their relationship, Nelson and Emma's love for each other was genuine and profound. It was a love that inspired great deeds, brought immense joy, and ultimately led to great sorrow. Their story serves as a reminder of the complexities of human relationships, the power of love, and the sacrifices that sometimes accompany it. In the annals of history, the romance of Lord Nelson and Emma Hamilton remains one of the most enduring and poignant love stories of the European courts, a tale of 2 people whose love transcended the boundaries of duty, society, and even death itself.